all these people running up and down doing press conferences trying to replace Baba. It can never happen. You are not going to replace him. You know, you are not, I'm sorry to say, I do not like fighting women, especially in politics and in leadership, because I know how difficult it is to get there. But we also have to call each other out. But I'm sorry to say, Gladys Wanga, that's not how you're going to convince the masses that you are befitting to take over that party. I think in one way or another, Kenyans also, you know, Kenyans are not stupid.
I can see.
Yeah? Like, you see how they made sure that Babu Owino doesn't speak anywhere. But somehow, even when they were doing those introductions, just the name of Babu Owino drove the masses crazy. You know? And it's not to say that Babu Owino is a saint. No, for crying out loud, he's not a saint. He has done so many things that I am so against of, yeah? But sometimes the people understand that this is the person we trust. And this is the person that we want to follow. And I really do hope that Babu Owino breaks away from all that circus that has become ODM now and just forms his party. Because the people will follow him. The people are just waiting for him to give direction. They will follow him. Some of these things, no matter how much you want to manufacture them and fix them like a Lego or whatever, when God has given you favor, you know, things just fall in place. And I believe, for whatever reason, Babu Owino has God's favor. That's what I believe. Yeah, and I should be the last person to say that, because I've criticized him a lot of times with the incidences of the shooting and all that. We've done shows with him where we've been arguing. But you know, also you have to come to a realization that leadership is so complicated in many ways that sometimes you wake up in 2025 as Babu Owino, having shot a DJ and having had all those tribulations, and God has said, you are the person who I want you to lead the Luo. And how are you going to argue with God? What you see these other people doing is arguing with God. It is useless. It's counterproductive. It's just a matter of time before. In fact, I used to tell people, and I don't know why William Ruto and his people don't see this. When we were campaigning for William Ruto in 2022, there's nothing that he didn't go through. There's nothing that the government of the day didn't do to him, you know, or to his people. But in the end, he sat in State House. Because they never, most of those people who do not like Babu Owino, who do not like Sifuna, have never worked hard to create their own brand. They have never had their own brand. If I tell you ODM, and just by the top, I give you 10 seconds, mention people, I don't think you'll go past 10. Like, just out of the, you know, you will be like, oh, Babu Owino, Sifuna, Millie Odhiambo. Then you start hanging, You start hanging because you're like, okay, who are the other people we know in part? You know, because they've never really created their own brands. And that's why they look at, and this thing, I say it as a personal experience. Even in Senate, the people who had the biggest fights with me are people who will never be able to create their own brands. They'll never stand for anything. They'll never go out there and push an agenda. They want to have it easy and still fight you who's creating your own brand. Babu has created his own brand over the years. His own brand. He was the only person who the parliamentarians were calling him to go to Kasarani so that he could calm down the crowds during the viewing. In Parliament, Gladys Orwoba, Deputy Speaker, renowned politician, was unable to address the masses. She had to give the leaves to Babu and beg Babu, please, tell these people not to break through to Parliament. So, you know, sometimes, and that doesn't come easy. You know, it doesn't come to enter a room and command the space is something you work on and you create as a politician, as a leader. Most of these leaders used to survive through the brand that Baba had created. So now, when that's not there, there are some people who can never enter any room and address any crowd. And those are the people who are fighting the likes of Babu and Sifuna. And who, you see, after I say Babu and Sifuna, I kind of have, I'm like, the other ODM people. You see what I mean, eh? Yeah, because I'm not talking about a brand within your constituency. I'm talking about a national brand. A brand where, me, when I go to Samburu, people know me in Samburu. Hello, Mama Wapads. A brand where you can go anywhere in this country and people know you for your work, not for your nonsense, for your work. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when you look at most of these ODM politicians, They don't have it. A level of comfort that President William Ruto had when he had Baba in government. And nobody anticipated that Baba was going to die, to be honest. And that level of comfort was that in our mathematics of numbers, we had Nyanza locked because Baba would convince his people to vote for us for a second term. Yeah? Now, in the absence of Baba, William Ruto is not a stupid politician. He knows that he can't be comfortable. He can't be comfortable because their biggest undoing was they were very comfortable. And that comfort, I used to wonder, where would it come from? Because even if Baba had not died, I don't think Baba was going to support them in 2027. But there's a level of comfort. So what you see happening is the panic for particularly William Ruto trying to figure out, how will I hold on to this Luo Nyanza? I'm sorry to say this. That's why a lot of things happened the way they happened in the funeral, and they kept on saying it's a state funeral. Because it's a state funeral, we can't allow ABCD. I mean, a state funeral or not a state funeral, and you can say whatever you want to say. I don't know, I'm much, I don't know. But your friends should be allowed to bid you farewell. SK Mashari, everybody knew that was Raila Odinga's friend for the longest time. They should be allowed to bid you farewell. Martha Karua, who partnered with him, should have been allowed to bid farewell to the... But, yeah, it was the way it was being controlled. It had nothing to do that it was a state funeral. It had everything to do with the fact that we need to bury this guy, but we need to make sure that they do not destabilize further the Luo Nyanza block. So what you're seeing in the front page of the Standard is, I call them Ruto's pawns. Which ones can he use? Which ones can he use to keep Luo Nyanza? You know, and he's very aware that there's some people he can absorb and keep very close to him, but they don't have the ground, they don't have the people. The idea is not an individual. The idea is taking an individual who can sway the masses to stay within the two-term movement. Okay. Yeah. And when you look at all those faces, I'm sorry to say, other than Sifuna and Babu Owino, and maybe Caleb to some stretch extent, even if he adopts all the rest of the other ones, he will just have one vote each. One vote for Buru, one vote for Gladys Wanga, one vote for Paranya, one vote for Mbadi. Maybe even Mbadi will not vote for him, but one vote for Mbadi. And that's it. You can never detach Kenyans from the tribe. Maybe in another 100 years after we've all intermarried and we've dissolved our languages. But even now in intermarriages, there's another video I shared where there's a Gen Z who happens to be both Kikuyu and Luo, and he speaks both. You would think he would speak none. He speaks both. So depending on the day, or whatever favors him, he is Kikuyu, and another day he's Luo. You can never detach Kenyans from tribe. Because our roots, that's where we come from. You are born from somewhere, you have cultures from somewhere. I don't know why people see it as a negative thing. It's not a negative thing. It can only be negative when it is used for divisive politics. But to say that we don't want to look at the tribal lines, that's actually hiding ourselves, you know, putting your head under the sun. We have to understand that when all is said and done, Gladys Orwoba is from Kisii. First, she's from Kisii. Then she's a woman. Then other things. Then she supports so and so and so and so. Then we break it down. Everywhere you go in this country, you say, oh, what's your name? Gloria says, Then they say, you're from wherever. You're from wherever. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a very unique thing because not many countries have that kind of diversity. So you can't now start telling politicians, stop looking at the tribe thing. No, because also at the end of the day, we have a factory reset where when all is said and done, we go back home and we're like, who's going to liberate us from our regional issues? And then you look at a regional leader. And there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing that can be negative about that is when you end up choosing leaders for their tribe, but they're not working. Yeah, but I don't see anything wrong with that. And by the way, whether you like it or not, in whichever election, at least the ones that I have been involved in since I've been an adult, it will always come down to tunangoja kura za hii region. tunangoja na zote za Nyanza zimekuja, because you know that's the influence. And then another thing that you need to understand is, I don't know why people are trying to remove yourself from the region. When you, for instance, Nyamira and Kisii, our problems as people are the same. So we want to be guided by a leader who understands our problems as Kisiis. We are producers of matoke and whatever. So when we are also looking for leadership, we are seeking for leadership that understands this is where our pain points are as farmers. This is where our pain points are as, for instance, miners of soapstone. So you can't tell us, go and listen to a leader, let's say, from the coast region. They don't have soapstone there. We have soapstone. We want to be told what is. So somehow, even the idea of the geographical location definitely has influence on the leaders that you choose. So I think it's a bit simplistic thinking to say, this tribe thing. No, the tribe thing is a factor. The only thing we are saying to people is, after you have said, okay, this tribe, do those people actually have leadership qualities? Will they actually be able to lead you as a community? Will they be able to bring development, ensure that we have, a good living, So, but to say that, no, we're not going to think of tribe. No. In fact, today, it's all about, when you look at the front page newspaper, that is Nyanza and parts of Western.